The abandoned plan of the Soviet Union's lunar base 60 years ago. In 1962, during the height of the Cold War, after the Soviet Union had success with the Sputnik project, it was decided to take a step further to build its own base on the moon. The goal was to occupy the moon before the Americans. Today, I will guide you through the Cold War period to unravel an almost forgotten space project, the Soviet Union's secret lunar base project, called STAR. The plan consisted of building several residential modules buried on the moon. This would not only avoid detection by the Earth's telescope, but would also have a repositionable wheelbase, increasing the mobility and adaptability of the base. Please imagine residential modules buried under the moon. On the outside, a harsh lunar environment, but inside, an extreme display of technology. These modules would not only need to be hidden, but could also move freely on the moon's surface, like a scene from a science fiction movie. Although the STAR project seemed to be going well in the initial stages, the sky was not close enough to send these powerful facilities to the moon with the An-1 rocket. However, after a series of failures, the Soviet Union seemed to be stuck in the mud of technology, as there were no other launch vehicles available to take on the project. When everyone thought this project would end without a trace, the new rocket that was designed could reignite the flame of this dream. Incredible, isn't it? The STAR project and the determination of the Soviet Union to conquer space give us a lot to think about. If you are enjoying this content and want to continue exploring the fascinating history of the space race with us, please give a like on the video and subscribe to our channel and activate notifications. We would love to hear your opinions on this topic. Leave a comment below sharing your thoughts. After the Berlin Air Force incident in 1948, the US and Stalin's leadership in the Soviet Union have been increasingly worn out. The two main camps of the Cold War era are now at a high temperature. When the shadow of nuclear weapons is dominating the world, they decide to change the battlefield. The two countries, the US and the Soviet Union, are not only fighting on land, but also want to compete on the moon without leaving space aside. Mark my arrival here. This is like two children playing with toys. No one is convinced of anyone. Although the United States has the advantage in nuclear power, in space exploration, the Soviet Union is on top. In 1957, the first manned satellite, Sputnik V, became the first manned object to travel in space in human history. This made the United States unable to stand still. The Eisenhower presidency quickly interrupted the original Air Command and replaced it with NASA, which specializes in space exploration. Rocket expert Wernher von Braun, who was the mentor of the V-2 rocket at that time, is now recruited by the United States and begins to plan an even more ambitious space program. Imagine building a military base using the developing Saturn I and Saturn II rockets. It is estimated that the ground base will need more than 250 tons of construction materials. When John Kennedy took over the presidency in 1961, he increased NASA's funds and publicly declared that his government would commit to sending humans to the moon within 10 years. This is the goal of the Apollo project. However, the Soviet Union did not lag behind. After Yuri Gagarin managed to orbit the Earth, Sergei Korolev, the main Soviet space engineer, began to think about the lunar base. The Soviet Union also wanted to build an N-1 rocket to establish a long-term base on the moon. The moon is just one place in the universe. So the Soviet Union published a report to build a long-lasting lunar base and planned to build a lunar base in 3 stages. The base could initially accommodate only 4 people, but after the completion of the final phase, the capacity would increase to 12 people. And on the side of the United States, the Apollo plan was also planning to deploy nuclear weapons on the moon, which is really impressive. The plan was to carry out 229 launches and send 252 astronauts to the moon. The base was officially opened in 1967. Some astronauts would be permanently stationed there, and in addition, the base would also need 2 nuclear reactors to provide energy. The rest of the materials would be transported by rockets launched from Earth. Taking into account the possible Soviet landing operations, the US military also planned to deploy defensive weapons, such as small nuclear bombs and a set of mines, to combat the potential threat of Soviet forces. Think about it. A military base with nuclear bombs, a nuclear reactor, and a constant flow of materials being transported. This image is really shocking. This is indeed a power game unfolding in space, but it was played on the moon, hundreds of thousands of kilometers away from us. And this space competition is not just a technological dispute, but also a strategic game with profound implications. It has been a fascinating experience so far. In 1970, the Soviet design team did a remarkable job by starting a major project to build a life-size model of a lunar module. It was not just a model, but a tool to test the various technologies and facilities that would be sent to the moon. Imagine recreating a small lunar base here on Earth. Wouldn't it be like shooting a full-scale space movie? But sometimes dreams do come true. However, reality can be harsh. The bright star of the Soviet space program encountered an unexpected obstacle: the N-1 rocket. This launch vehicle was supposed to be the crucial tool to send all the construction materials and technological equipment to the moon. Unfortunately, it did not work as expected. Since the first launch attempt of the N-1 rocket, the project faced setbacks. After several launch failures in 1974, Soviet engineers were forced to put the project on hold. They needed time to figure out why this rocket, which was supposed to be so powerful, kept failing. Undoubtedly, this was a major setback for the scientists and engineers passionate about the project. This sequence of failures not only interrupted the N-1 rocket project, but also forced Soviet experts to suspend the construction work of the lunar base. They had to wait for significant advances in rocket technology to continue pursuing this exciting space dream. During this period, the Soviet dream of lunar exploration had to be temporarily put on paper, waiting for the moment to be reignited. Although the suspension of the N-1 rocket plan may seem like a major setback, the Soviet dream of a lunar base was not extinguished. In fact, this dilemma gave rise to new leaders and new directions. In 1974, Valentin Glushko was appointed as the head of Energy, the main Soviet aircraft manufacturer. Although Glushko criticized the N-1 rockets, he believed they should be stopped. However, he did not lose his enthusiasm for lunar exploration. Despite his popularity in public media not being as high as some other aerospace leaders, Glushko was still promoting the progress of global aerospace technology, especially in the field of rocket engines. Under Glushko's leadership, Energy soon proposed its own plan for a lunar base. The title of this plan is STARS. This proposal is not just a response to the previous failure, but also a demonstration of the Soviet Union's determination to continue advancing in the field of space exploration. Unlike the N-1 rocket, the STARS project hopes to use a new heavy cargo rocket. The design of this new rocket aims to solve the technical problems encountered in the failure of the N-1 rocket and ensure that it can be reliable to send a large amount of materials and technological equipment to the lunar surface. This new plan represents not only a huge technological challenge, but also a test of the innovative capabilities of Soviet engineers and scientists. They aspire to build not just a simple base, but a lunar base that can support long-term residence and scientific research. The design of this new rocket demonstrates its impressive transport capacity and the ambitious goal of the mission. It has the ability to send 230 tons of cargo to the moon. 60 tons were sent to the moon's orbit, and 22 tons were transported directly to the lunar surface. This performance makes it an ideal choice to carry out deep space exploration and establish a lunar base. One of the key components is the Lunar Exploration Complex. This is a highly complex multi-stage spacecraft designed to complete the full return mission from Earth to the Moon. Unfortunately, Glushko's proposal, although technically innovative, failed to gain the approval of the Soviet government in the face of political and economic reality. The government's willingness to invest significant funds to build a lunar base was maintained, especially after observing the Apollo project of the United States, which managed to carry out 7 lunar landings, but failed to establish a permanent base. This cautious attitude reflects the Soviet Union's consideration at the time about the distribution of resources and the response to the US space program during the Cold War. So the focus of the Soviet Union turned to imitating the US spaceflight project. This decision was made after a deep observation and evaluation of US technology. This decision led to the emergence of the Soviet Union's own spaceflight project. Although it was eventually abandoned due to the huge budget, this change highlighted the gap between the Soviet Union's space competition and internal economic pressure. However, Russia's dream of space exploration did not end with the disintegration of the Soviet Union. Especially after 2010, the Russian Federal Space Agency again expressed interest in building a lunar base. This time, they began to collect relevant information and conduct initial research and evaluations, considering the construction of future research and exploration bases on the Moon. This shows that, despite the many challenges and failures throughout history, Russia's interest in maintaining and expanding its influence in the space field has not diminished. This continuous interest and investment indicate that Russia still hopes to play a key role in the future space race, especially in the long-term use and exploration of the Moon as a strategic location. Thank you for watching our video. If you liked it, please give a like and subscribe to our channel to learn more about exciting historical content. In the following comments, Share with us your vision of humanity's desire to conquer the moon and space. If you were inspired by the determination and innovation demonstrated in the STAR project, please give a like on this video and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to activate the bell to receive notifications of our upcoming content. If you think this video may interest other people, share it. We would love to hear your opinions on this fascinating topic. Leave a comment below with your thoughts. Thank you for joining us on this journey through space.